to Noob-Splaining. My name is Wolf. If this is your first time here, this is where I explain the gloriously over-the-top world of Warhammer 40,000 that nerds like me love so much. So hit that subscribe button, grab a drink, settle in, and prepare for a Noob-Splaining session. So this week we're taking a look at the most iconic vehicles of each faction. Now each one has been chosen not for its prowess on the tabletop, but how well I think it fits in with the lore and visual style of each faction. And it's all mainly down to my opinion. So if you think I got it wrong, put it in the comments which I got wrong and which vehicle you think it should be. But bear in mind, this is my channel and I'm always fucking right. Now these are not ranked at all in any order, so I'm just going to go through each faction alphabetically. Adeptus Mechanicus. This has got to be the Onager Dooncrawler. I mean, look at it. It's covered in guns, scanners, and just looks so typical of anything the Mechanicum would build. It would not be out of place in a steampunk setting, and a lot of the visual feels of the Mechanicum is very steampunk. Drari. The obvious choice for this is the Wraith Knight. Tall, elegant, fast, deadly, and winning all the tournaments. But no, I'm going for the Fire Prism. I feel it fits into the ethos of an Drari army way better, in that it's fast, manoeuvrable, and packing more firepower than a battleship convention. The Astra Militarum. Now, the Layman Russ is a good choice, but it has to be the Baneblade in its many variants. It fits the philosophy of the Guard perfectly. Pound the entire area with artillery into oblivion, twice for good measure, and then when nearly everything has been reduced to its constituent atoms, send in the heavy armour with infantry support to mop up. Probably literally to mop up the enemy. Chaos Demons. As the only vehicle available to a Chaos Demon army is a Soul Grinder, it does technically make it the most iconic vehicle, but then it's also the best, worst, most overrated and most underrated at the same time. However, when people say Chaos Demons and I think iconic, my mind always goes to the Bloodthirster Greater Demon, so although it's not a vehicle, it does get the award here. The Chaos Space Marines. So if you ever spend any time watching my channel, you will know how much I love the Land Raider. But no, it's not the most iconic vehicle of Chaos Space Marines. For this one, I was torn between two options. The Defiler comes in a close second on this, as someone took a Dreadnought and crossed it with a Mechanical Spider, but that's more of a Dark Mechanicum thing. So until they become a faction on their own, then it's got to be the Hellbrew. You can see how it's a combination of Dreadnought, its pilot, and a possessed demon. The more I look at the detail on this model, the more I realise it's pure nightmare fuel. Caustodies. Not much choice here, as they only have 4 vehicles. The Land Raider, the Contemptor Dreadnought, the Psychana Rhino that heals itself, and the Dawn Eagle jet bike. So for this we're going to have to go with the jet bike, as each Caustodies is a one-man army and they are not used to fighting in squads like Space Marines, so the jet bikes let them zip around the battlefield fucking shit up. Drari. The Drari are plain and simple evil bastards. Pretty much every faction has some basic sense of honourable combat, but not these evil pointy-eared space elves. They pick on the weak, raiding small towns to carry the unsuspecting occupants off as slaves, or worse. As such, it has to be the Raider. I mean, look at it. You can tell it's designed to get in, grab captives, and get the fuck out again before it gets shot up. Genestealer Cults. The Cults was an old codex, but was quietly dropped only to be revamped many years later with a whole new range of models released. The vehicles they have in their new codex are very utilitarian 40k and would not be out of the place on a mining world. So I'm going for a vehicle that they had in their old codex that Games Workshop never got round to making a model of, and that is the Limousine Technical with the assault cannon on the roof that you have to stand up out of the sunroof to fire. As the cults take over planets by taking control of the planetary leadership, it makes more sense they will have access to limos over mining trucks, as miners generally don't get to make the decision on planetary defences. Grey Knights. Again, if you've been following my videos, you know I hate the fucking idea of the Grey Knights being a standalone faction, and to me making them one was just a blatant cash grab. However, one thing did come out of it that is not only iconic for the Grey Knights, but so gloriously over the top it's stupid, and that's the Nemesis Dreadnought. How do you make a Grey Knight tougher? Well, first you put them in Terminator armour, and then you put them in a giant fucking mech suit. I love this thing. The Leagues of Votan. Again, being a new faction, they do not have a huge selection of models available. An argument can be made for the alien-style crawler that looks like it did just roll off the set of LV-421, aka Hadley's Hope from Aliens. But the Leagues are a redress of the Squats, who were Space Dwarf bikers, so it has to be the Hovertrikes. The Necrons. This is an absolutely no-brainer, as it has to be the obelisk. The floating pyramid with the death ray so powerful it makes a Death Star feel impotent. I feel like there is one of these in every piece of Necron art, like it's some kind of bylaw that you must draw one when drawing any Necrons. Orcs. Now this was a tough one, as every Orc vehicle feels really, well, orky, and in line with the faction from the Death Dread to the Hunter rig. I was going to go for the looted tank, but looting stuff is only a small part of the Orc culture, and only done by certain Orc clans. As for most Orcs, Orc guns is better than Umi stuff, so it has to be the original Orc truck with its original rule set. That rule set stated that the transport capacity of the truck is as many models as you can fit on it, which is perfect for an Orc horde. They're not a well-organised army riding into battle in an APC of some kind. They are a horde that wants to get to the fight as quickly as possible, so they cram as many inside as they can, and the rest will literally hang on to the outside. Sisters of Battle. This has to be the Immolator. I mean, it's a Rhino APC chassis with a church on top, that also acts as a mobile crematorium spewing flame onto the heretics. The only way this model could be any more Sister of Battle is if it included actual speakers and actually played hymns and songs on the tabletop, along with the sound of flamethrowers firing and heretics burning to death. I reckon with a Bluetooth speaker that could be done. Someone needs to make that. Space Marines. The Space Marines are not my favourite faction, but they are very much Games Workshop's favourite and around 50% of the player bases. As a result, they have way more models and what feels like all the other factions put together. I thought long and hard about this and was basically trying to convince myself why it's the Land Raider, but alas, it's not. It has to be the Rhino in its many variants like the Predator or the Whirlwind. I will however make two exceptions to that iconic vehicle, and they're both to do with the Dark Angels. If you're talking about the Deathwing, then yes, it's got to be the Land Raider. But as for the Raven Wing, it's got to be the Land Speeder. Tau. When people say Tau, a lot of people instantly think of the railgun, which was for many years the most powerful weapon on the 40k tabletop, and that thought then leads to the Hammerhead tank that is equipped with one. But no, the Tau are the manga fans of the 40k, so it has to be the big battle suits that look like it's a Gundam or a Transformer. The Tyranids. As the Nids are an entirely bioengineered faction of claws, talons and chitin armour, they don't technically have any vehicles at all, so I'm going to make an exception here, and I'm going to have to go for the original Screamer Killer. When the model first came out, way back in the 90s, it was tougher than old boot leather and would cause more damage than 8 bulls in a china shop that are on PCP. Then the range got a revamp, and the Screamer Killer morphed into the Carnifex. Probably down to the fact that the Carnifex is more copyrightable and fits more in line with units like Hormiguns and Lictors than Screamer Killer does. But now the range has had another revamp, and the original Screamer Killer is back and ready to butcher its way through the galaxy again. And there we have it. That brings us to the end of this video. If you laughed or learnt anything, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you are already subscribed, then don't forget to share this video with somebody who could do with some noob-splaining in their life. Also, leave a comment on your favourite part. I do try and interact with every comment. But if you made it this far, thank you, and I'll see you next time.